Good morning, and welcome to the Kokomo Health and Safety Report. In today's COVID update, we're going to go over a quick summary of how all the COVID vaccines work, the differences they have, and most importantly, which vaccine experts believe is the best. Again, we appreciate you guys watching our content. If you find it helpful, please hit the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to our channel. We know that COVID education at this time is extremely important, so please feel free, share this video with family, friends, coworkers, post it on social media. That'll help us out a lot. That'll help you guys out a lot. That being said, let's get straight into it. So currently, there are 3 COVID-19 vaccines that have received emergency use authorization from the FDA in the United States. Each vaccine's a little different, but they all have the same common goal of protecting you and I from COVID-19. These 3 vaccines are commonly referred to by the companies that actually developed them. So we have the Pfizer vaccine, which was approved in mid-December. Right behind that, by the end of December, was the Moderna vaccine. And then just recently, at the end of February, we got approval for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Now, here's how all 3 compare. For the most part, all 3 vaccines are extremely effective against COVID-19. The percentages may be a little bit different, with the Moderna and Pfizer being in the low 90s, while the Johnson & Johnson is in the high 60s and low 70s. But the key thing here to understand is that all 3 vaccines offer strong protection against the most serious and life-threatening symptoms of COVID-19. And that includes symptoms that cause people to die or require mechanical ventilation or even treatment in the ICU. The Pfizer and Moderna vaccines require 2 doses, about 3 to 4 weeks apart from each other, while the Johnson & Johnson vaccine only requires 1 single dose, much more convenient. The Pfizer Moderna vaccines are what we call mRNA vaccines, and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is a viral vector vaccine. So let me explain the difference. For the mRNA vaccines, first of all, please understand that the mRNA vaccines do not contain any part of the SARS-CoV virus. I know there's a lot of rumors out there and false information being spread that these vaccines contain a lighter version of COVID-19. They do not. Instead, what they do contain is they contain a chemically synthesized piece of messenger RNA, that's the mRNA part. And what that does is it contains information necessary for our cells to make the SARS-CoV spike protein. So what happens is our cells make the spike protein and then present it to the immune system, our immune system, which responds by creating antibodies and developing longer lasting immunity in the form of T cell and B cell responses. Now, the vector vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson one, is actually quite similar. Again, it's not a lighter version of COVID-19 that we're injecting into our bodies. Instead, what the vector vaccine does is it uses a harmless virus to deliver a gene that allows our cells to make the spike protein. This other virus in this case is generally an adenovirus, one that causes the common cold. And so what the gene does is the gene for the spike protein is delivered into our cells after injection. Our cells then make the actual spike protein and then present it to our immune system, which again responds by creating antibodies and developing longer lasting immunity in the form of T cell and B cell responses. So at the end of the day, they work the same way. It's just a delivery mechanism as far as how it provides information for our cells to make that spike protein. Now, as far as side effects are concerned, the side effects for all 3 COVID-19 vaccines are fairly similar, with the most common being pain at the injection site. Most people are getting it in their shoulder, fatigue, headache, and muscle ache. So some people are reporting a day of feeling kind of sick or out of it, but outside of that, those are pretty much the side effects, and they're pretty similar across the board. The other big difference is that the Pfizer and Moderna being mRNA, well, mRNA vaccines are fragile, and the vaccines must be kept frozen up until right before it's administered, and not just in a regular freezer, but an extremely cold storage freezer designed specifically for vaccines, which kind of limits the availability and location and makes transport a little bit more difficult. The Johnson and Johnson vaccine, super easy, can be kept in just regular refrigeration, regular cold storage. So ultimately, experts feel that administration and access to Johnson and Johnson is much more widespread, especially in remote areas and cities where they don't have access to this special type of cold storage that's required for Pfizer Moderna. So ultimately, the big question is, which vaccine do experts agree is the best one for you to take? Well, the answer is really simple, and all the experts agree with this. The best COVID-19 vaccine for you to choose is the one that you can get right away. During this distribution, it's very unlikely that you're going to even have a choice. You won't be able to go to a distribution site that will ask you, well, which of the 3 vaccines do you want? You won't even be able to choose between 2 of them. Each facility is only being given one type of vaccine that you can choose. But here's the important thing. All 3 vaccines do the same thing: significantly reduce your chance of getting sick from COVID. And if you do get sick, it keeps you from getting really sick to the point you need hospitalization or developing any symptoms where you need to be intubated and put on a ventilator. And of course, worst case scenario, anything that could lead to your potential death. And this is the case for young adults and extremely old adults alike. So all the experts agree that the best choice is choosing the vaccine that is most accessible to you. And that choice will lead you into choosing not to go to the hospital. So hopefully this quick summary helps and avoid some of the confusion that's out there. It's important to understand that whether you've had COVID or have not had COVID, getting a vaccine is equally as important to both parties. So please make sure that you take the time to do the research. This information that I present today is all available on the CDC website. So make sure you read and do additional follow-up. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and we'll be sure to answer them to the best of our ability, as well as link you to sources of where the research has been. But most importantly, we just want to make sure that you guys have the facts and understand what your options are and how these vaccines work, so that, one, you're not afraid and you're not receiving incorrect information that's being incorrectly spread around at this time. Again, thanks for following us here at Kokomo 247. Our goal here is always public health and safety. So if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to drop a comment below. And if you're ever looking for any solutions on how to return to work or return to school, return to retail in a safe fashion, visit our website at kokomo247.com. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.